Have you ever met someone who never tells you what they're planning? They finish something big, and you find out weeks later, almost by accident. They never announce the goal. They never post the process. They just show up already done. Most people call that secretive, maybe even arrogant. But psychology tells a completely different story. And once you understand it, you'll never look at quiet, unreadable people the same way again. Here's the thing most people get wrong. They think silence means someone has nothing going on. They think if you're not talking about your goals, your moves, your plans, you're probably not doing much at all. So they do the opposite. They announce everything. The new diet starts today. The business launches this month. The relationship is official, captioned, tagged. And for a moment, it feels amazing. People react. People comment. People say, "I'm so proud of you," before you've done a single thing. But here's what most people never realize. That feeling you get when people praise your plan isn't motivation. It's a withdrawal. Your brain just spent the reward before you earned it. This comes down to something psychologists call premature closure of intention. When you tell people your goal out loud, your brain registers a small hit of identity, as if you've already become the person who did it. Dopamine fires off, the same chemical tied to reward and pleasure, except this time it's firing for an announcement, not an achievement. The problem is, your brain can't always tell the difference between talking about a goal and actually pursuing it. So once the social reward is collected, the likes, the good for you, the attention, some of the internal pressure to actually finish the thing quietly disappears. You already got paid. Why keep working? This is exactly why the fox mindset works differently. A fox doesn't announce where it's going. It doesn't pace anxiously in front of other animals trying to get approval for its next move. It studies the terrain. It waits. And by the time anyone notices it moved at all, it's already somewhere new. People with this mindset aren't hiding out of fear. They're protecting their own momentum. Because deep down, something even more interesting happens when you stay quiet about your plans. Your brain treats the goal as unfinished business. There's no early reward to relieve the tension, so the tension stays right where it belongs, pushing you forward until the job is actually done. And this is where almost everyone makes a mistake. They think confidence means being open about everything, but real confidence isn't found in how much you share. It's found in how little you need people to know in order to keep going. I want to be honest with you about something, because most psychology videos skip this part. Not everyone who stays quiet about their next move is doing it from a place of strength. Some people stay silent because they're scared of being judged if they fail. Some stay quiet because they've been let down before, or laughed at, or doubted, and silence became a kind of armor. And that's okay too. Because here's the truth. Whether someone is quiet out of calm self-control or quiet out of self-protection, the result is the same. They are not handing their momentum to anyone else. They are not letting outside opinions decide how they feel about their own progress. Over time, the protection turns into the discipline. The armor becomes the mindset. So if you've ever felt embarrassed for keeping your goals to yourself, understand this. You weren't being weird. You were unconsciously preserving the one resource that actually finishes things. Focused, undiluted attention. So how do you actually build this mindset on purpose instead of stumbling into it by accident? First, delay the announcement, not the action. Work on the thing before you talk about the thing. Let your first update to the world be a result, not a plan. Second, replace public validation with private tracking. Write your goal somewhere only you see it. A notebook, a notes app, anywhere private. Every time you want to post about your progress, write it there instead. You still get the release of putting it into words. You just remove the audience that quietly drains your drive. Third, protect your why from group opinion. The moment other people know your plan, they start having opinions about it, even with good intentions. Their doubts, their advice, their comparisons start shaping decisions that should only belong to you. Staying quiet isn't about secrecy. It's about sovereignty over your own thinking. By the way, if you're someone who's serious about mastering focus and understanding human psychology, make sure to subscribe to Fox Mindset. Because every week, we break down the science behind attention, discipline, and human behavior so you can understand yourself and the people around you better than most people ever will. Let me tell you about two people. Both wanted to change their lives within the same year, The first person told everyone. Family, friends, social media. Every small win got posted. Every setback got hidden. For a while, it looked like she had it all figured out. But 3 months in, the excitement online had faded. The comments stopped. And so did she. The validation had been doing the heavy lifting the whole time. And once it disappeared, so did her motivation. The second person told almost no one. Worked quietly, adjusted quietly, failed a few times in private, where it didn't cost her anything socially. A year later, people were shocked. When did this happen? You never said anything. She just smiled and said, I didn't need you to know. I needed to know. That's the Fox mindset in motion. Not louder. Not flashier. Just quietly unstoppable. Because nothing about her progress depended on anyone else's reaction. But before we continue, there's something important you need to understand. This isn't just about goals. It's about how people perceive control. When you hide your next move, you put yourself in a position of psychological power. Not over others, but over your own narrative. Nobody can predict you. Nobody can prejudge you. Nobody can talk you out of something before you've even started, because they don't know it exists yet. This is why people who operate this way often seem calm in situations that would stress most people out. They're not reacting to outside expectations because there were never any outside expectations to begin with. Their pressure is internal, self-generated, and far more sustainable than the pressure that comes from trying to live up to an audience. Ending. So the next time you notice someone who never tells you their next move, who finishes things quietly, who surprises you instead of updating you, don't assume they're cold or distant. They've simply learned something most people never figure out. That your goals don't need witnesses to be real. They need focus. They need silence. They need you, undisturbed, long enough to actually become the person you set out to be. And maybe the real question isn't why some people hide their moves. Maybe it's, what could you actually finish? If no one was watching you try,